Welcome to another episode of Pipe Surgery. This week's question is a big one. I don't think we're going to be able to answer it all in the surgery, but we're going to give a good overview. And the question is, what is a sales playbook and why does every company need one? So I guess before we dive into the why, let's just define what and what is a sales playbook. A sales playbook is a document or set of documents that live within the organization, within the company, that helps salespeople go from A to Z in terms of the actual journey of selling the product or service that you have to your target market. So it will define your products, pricing, personas, and your ICP. It'll go through things like email scripts, workflows, responses, obstacles. It's really the in-house Bible of how you sell within your organization. So that's a sort of very broad
Yeah,
description of what is a playbook. But Simon, there's so many reasons why we need one.
yeah. Well, I think one of the main reasons is, especially today with teams across any company, be it professional services or tech company or traditional companies as well, is people aren't in the office together anymore, or certainly not 5 days a week like they used to be. So any process needs to be documented. In the old days, you would maybe hear someone else on the phone and say, well, that was really good what you said there. Can you repeat that? I'll use that on my next presentation as part of the process. So we're lacking that when people are making calls from their bedrooms and their attics, etc. So that's something where you're going to lose that unless you've got it
I think
documented.
that's a good point. I forgot about the remote or hybrid nature of things, and the sales playbook enables you to have a uniform standard and consistency across how you approach the market that you can't always do when you're not in person. When you've got people in the same room and they're listening all the time, from our days of being in sort of the bullpen, as it were, that doesn't exist in the same way. So that uniformity of training and process and consistency is really important.
Yeah, I think you're right about the training. It's particularly useful for onboarding new people. And the key is about building a repeatable, and the key word here is scalable process that you can bring new people in who can hit the ground running very quickly, maybe learning from mistakes of earlier people in the company. And it only really works if people are very willing to share what works well for them, but also where they're getting blockages and when they need assistance as well. So the best examples we've seen across any company really is when it's very interactive. There's no egos involved. It's not just run by the leadership of the company. People who are on the ground, on calls, in meetings, are able to contribute to the sales playbook as well.
I think the important part about what you just said around training and onboarding is this is a living document, by the way. This is not something you do once and it stays forever. It's something that will be tweaked and changed over time as you get to more of a definition of what good looks like, what great looks like for your sales team. And so, you're learning as you go through the course of a year, and a really good sales leader and the RevOps team will go to the playbook and tweak and train it back into the team, either for new hires or for the existing sales team. So it's all about that, I guess, that you call it knowledge transfer, that there's a
Yeah.
uniform place that they can go to as a resource to see this is what great looks like, this is how you do it, and it enables people to upskill themselves and follow a defined path, as you say, for that scalability and repeatability.
Yeah. Look, some people think sales playbook is relevant just to tech companies and more not traditional older companies. But as we've seen ourselves, having worked with law firms and more traditional older services companies, it's actually maybe as important, if not more important, in those scenarios because people are winning work in different ways. They're like the old days of being on the golf course and winning a deal don't really exist to the same extent anymore. And it's very important to document processes and also allow people to, as you say, share their knowledge, share their information, and be very receptive to criticism, change, and open to new ideas. And again, the most successful ones we've seen, be it in a law firm or a tech company, is when people are very humble and willing to learn, willing to change, willing to try a different method and report back to everyone else.
I think for me, it's about the three Ps, as I call them. And often companies do the first two, which are, well, I've got the people. I've got the people
Yeah,
that I think can sell for me. I've got the product that we can go to market with, but they miss that third P, which is processes. And actually, that is the game changer. That's the delta in good to great. And if you put the three Ps in alignment to build the fourth P, which is the playbook,
yeah,
then you're much more likely to actually be successful. And my personal view, and this is something that we're trying to do with clients, is that the playbook, we say sales playbook, but actually it's a go to market or go to customer playbook. It
yeah.
should really start all the way at the beginning with marketing and carry on all the way through to how customer success and account management handle existing customers, because processes are needed in all of those too. Any last thoughts before we wrap up this episode?
I think that's something for people to go on. I'd love to get feedback, as we often do from these particular episodes, and have everyone share where a playbook's added value to their own businesses and where they've seen it have the most impact.
Very good. Well, Simon, that wraps up another episode of Pipe Surgery.